Hello. It kind of
Hello.
internet went to shit. How are we?
Hello.
Hello,
Oh,
hello,
hi.
hello. Ohare yo gozaimashita. Um.
L'chaim.
So where were we? Sorry.
L'chaim.
The last bit I heard was, please wait. We will have the evidence shortly.
Okay.
Yes. And then I'm gonna pull out some vodka. God, I'm giving myself. And then I'm gonna pull out some vodka from Alden.
Hmm.
Does the elevator music start? Do,
Hmm.
do, 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 do.
She kind of
We look.
she looks over toward you. You want to drink out in the middle of the street?
As she says that, Bremen will step up and just say, "Don't mind him. He's just slightly nervous talking to women." And I just politely smile. And I just
I'm gonna look up and give you the absolute evils.
and Bremen will just say, "Well, I do recognise you for that, and you do carry quite a lot of prestige with you as an authority as you walk. So I think it is enough to intimidate many small men."
She does let
Let me
out
give him
this
an
tiny
elbow.
chuckle. You know, if it wasn't for the fact you're not from Gustodden, I might have taken you out for a drink tonight.
Bremen raises an eyebrow and just says, "That stopped you before, I'm guessing."
It's just protocol, I'm afraid.
Bremen just relaxes, well, just really relaxes and just says, "Of course. Well, you got responsibilities and all, and we're just freelancing adventurers, so it is quite hard. Well, I do forget not having that much responsibility anymore. Gives me too much free time."
And so, you each have this, like, small chat for a moment, as Asatari and Anessa are like shuffling their way beautifully in their dresses, might I add, um, toward.
Carrying a mace.
Oh yeah.
That's when Bremen would just be like, the party members, they had other matters to attend to before getting to the bridge, which we do apologise for.
You see, she kind of looks over toward them. Well, that's not the first time I've seen a lovely lady in a dress wielding a mace chasing after a man. But it's certainly a much more peaceful version than the last one I saw. And so you two
Bremen
head
will
over.
just chuckle a little bit.
As you two get into earshot distance, you turn the corner, you see Romana there with two guards behind her, both kind of stood to attention to a degree. She looks at the mace in your hands and goes, I'm assuming that's the one. Without saying the obvious, I'll have to take that off your person and have it inspected. If it's Vortigern's mace, we will find traces of the sun god's power residing still within it. And that will be proof enough. And after that, we will have your reward ready. You can come with me now if you want, but it could take a number of hours to find one of the magical practitioners who can trace the magic from it safely.
I sort of look to the others, but like, are we going, or is there anyone else we're needed?
Or if you want, you can always go to. She then turns to her left a little and just mutters quietly to the guard, and you see that they kind of talk about something very, very briefly. Okay. There's a place called the Hangman's Fingers in the marketplace. It's my version of shady. It's a place where you can go to get the information you need, where People can just let themselves hang loose. If you wish to wait for me in there, I'm persuaded that the prices are good, and so is the booze and company. I'll meet you there when I'm finished, if you so desire. They do have rooms as well.
Brewin sort of smiles and says, sounds all favourable. I think a few of us are over the patch considering the evening we've had. Just look to the others for sort of like with a questionable glance.
See Trafalgar already heading off towards it.
What was the name of the place? Sorry.
Hangman's Fingers. Bless you.
Lee's got his 2 favourite rums on the shelf in front of him there.
Hey. For starters, the Fingers was correct. Fuck you. The Hangman's was of my own decision. So, eat a pile of dogs, you whore. Also, for proof. Anyway, carry on.
As I noticed, Trafalgar just instantly shooting off towards there. I was just sort of like softly laugh and just say, someone's keen.
Lee's internet just crashed.
No, it didn't.
Oh.
No, it didn't.
No.
That was-
Why did that message just come up?
Because my phone's only just connected.
Oh.
Womp womp.
Cool.
Anyway, carry on.
I can still hear him.
Yeah, Brewin just laughs and just says, someone's very keen. Someone's very keen for a drink.
Good choice, Ellie.
Oh, yes. So, are you guys all going to wait at the Hangman's, or is anyone going with her, or?
Ooh,
Hey.
I love those rums.
Hey, that's cracking!
Hey, cracking.
Best, it's a very fucking good one. Really do like that Santa bottle though, that's cool.
Yeah, I was looking at that. It's cool. It's Christmas.
It's Chrysler.
I had Zach brought round a Halloween version of the Dead Man's.
Ooh.
I wanted to keep the bottle. I'm sad that I didn't.
I have a whole shelf's looking pretty empty. It's just got a bottle of gin as well as a miniature bottle and a almost empty bottle of Disaronno.
We're all a bunch of fucking alcoholics.
I
you
love
like-
rum.
Are your characters all at the pub again? Not yet.
No, but they're going to.
Get in there.
Brewin's trying to get himself a date with Romana.
He's trying to get in Romana's pants.
He seems actually like friendly with someone. It's interesting.
She was friendly with him.
She is pretty fit, to be fair.
Yeah.
She sounds very hot. I like her.
That's hot. So,
What time of day is it?
you don't know.
It's fucking dark, man.
You are essentially on the inside of a very hollowed out mountain that has light sources. You can see for the most part pretty fine, but you can't see very well on the outside. As of the moment, the way you're angled, you can sort of see up to the top of the mountain where there is a large hole in the middle, but there isn't really any light coming through it, so you assume it's somewhere near afternoon, midnight, maybe?
Afternoon to midnight. That's half the day.
Yeah, like completely different times of day.
Hey, hey, hey. I'll have you know, you can't see the moon, you can't see the sun, fuck you!
You guys say that like there's an appropriate time for drinking. In this universe,
Nope.
there is always
Just
Always drinking time.
Drinking
just
time.
not on the street, apparently.
The
It's not a Nordic
nobles.
country.
The nobles. So what are you nerds doing? You going straight to the joint?
Yeah, well, I am.
Okay.
Well, depends if the other 2 hours in.
I was gonna say, what do you want to do, Anessa? I don't mind going with them to look at the mace, or I don't mind going to the pub.
I just give her a look like, surely you know what I want to do.
Pub it is.
Hey.
Okay. So then, meanwhile, Lycoris, you follow as best you can. Nobody is being helpful. You try to find Magata Manor, and you find yourself kind of like stumbling through the streets at some point. None of the houses have the kind of architecture you'd expect for your master to build. And as you're wandering, you just... It is just a maze at this point of just houses and buildings, and it's all a mess. And then as you're wandering along, just kind of in a huff anyway, you see a couple of signs that have been crossed out, that's been placed just down onto the ground and thrown into a corner. And as you kind of like brush the sign off, you look at it, it's very carved up, but you see an M and a G, and at the end of the text you see OR. And you get enough of a sense to assume that's enough letters. And where it was pointing points off in a western direction. And you kind of look around, and as you're looking, you don't see anything that kind of shouts your master's place. But then you look around a little more, you look east, and you kind of see this vast ray of light that's illuminating in this circular fashion that then very quickly descends. And then a couple of minutes later you see it again as you're walking toward it. As you're walking toward it, there's now this open stretch of area that has not been worked on. It's an area where stalagmites and tights are starting to resurface. You see sparse patches of grass grown unnaturally in this area, as if it's been dug out, hollowed out, and dirt has been placed there, and anything, minerals, and anything it needs to survive. Though the grass itself has taken on a similar grey coloration. You notice the area around you is very rife with life, surprisingly. There is a small farm, and this place is like a good 100 or so feet away from the main road. And as you're walking toward it, just over the edge of what's kind of like more of a drop down of about 10 feet, you see in this small cratered like area where there is multiple steps carved into rocks that lead up and around to get back to the same place you are currently at. I will allow everybody to see it, because why not? Boop. Ignore the fact that your character tokens are there. You see all of this. You see colours all over the place. And obviously, for the sake of this right now, it's just Lycoris. You can all just sit over there. And you see, stood at the front door here, sat on a step, is a young boy, you think. He's roughly about 5'7" height. And he's currently like fanning himself slowly. He has this rabbit mask over his face. And he's wearing a very loose outfit that looks vaguely reminiscent to something you've seen before. And as he sat there, his head tilts up just a little bit. You can't see his eyes, but he is obviously looking at you. And he stops fanning himself, flicks his wrist, the fan retracts, and he holds open his robe a little and places it down beneath there. Excuse me, can I help you?
I don't like that his mask looks like a living version of my mask. I will say, I will just look him up and down and say, I'm looking for Ishikyo.
You don't see a facial difference, though his mouth opens just a little for a moment and then closes, and he says, Why would you... What... Why would you be searching for Ishikyo?
I'm gonna narrow my eyes at him and say, why does it matter to you?
Why does it matter to you? That's not exactly a name people know. Why would you know it?
He's the person that raised me?
There's this instant, whereas you finish saying that, the mouth opens again just this little bit, and he kind of like leaps up out of his sat position, and he kind of leans forward a little as if he's looking deeper at you. What's your surname?
Stone.
Maybe it is you then. Come in. Take your shoes off, please. Starts to walk up the steps. You see he's currently barefoot.
I'm giving him side eye. Mega side eye.
Looks back at you and watches to see if you take your shoes off or not.
I will take my shoes off.
Okay.
Begrudgingly.
So, so as you take off your shoes and you walk in, you immediately notice the garden, of course. You smell a very familiar rosy scent. A warming feeling runs over your body for a moment. A feeling of something very familiar and welcoming. He starts walking forward. As you're walking along the floorboards, you kind of make note that they're very well cleaned. They've been buffed and washed, possibly every day. And you haven't seen a single other person since you got here so far. And you can't hear anything else other than the whistling of wind. And even then, that's quiet. So you said Stone. They usually give that name to those who were orphaned or offered when they were young. My given name is Ishikari Stone. And your mask and the weapon, maybe you did know him. I'm sorry, there's something I've got to ask you before I can really do the other thing. What's your given name?
Like Chloris.
So it is you then. I never thought you'd actually... He then turns toward you, slowly lifts his mask up just a little bit so you can see his eyes, and you see these very dull black eyes, except for one tiny little pearl of red in the middle, and he kind of looks at you and goes, "It's nice to meet you. I believe not technically teacher, but fellow student, I guess is the way to put it. Master wanted you to see something." He lowers the mask again, and then he starts walking slowly along the grounds.
I'm 100% putting one hand on one of my weapons at this point.
Hmm. Other than the fan you saw earlier, he doesn't seem to have anything on his person.
Don't trust this bitch. I trust nobody.
So he walks into this room. See all the tatami mats. Walks forward over here, and he sits kneeling down in front of this suit of armor that doesn't look familiar to you. Though the sword that sits in front of that is definitely the same sword. However, the sword itself, you see no life in it. Where when it was held by Shikyo was this weapon that could take or could save. But this weapon is dull. It has no spark in it. As he sits down in front of it, he claps his hands together, lowers his head, and he stays silent for a couple of seconds. And then he releases his hands, stands up, and then he motions his hand inside of the armor, and you see he kind of twists his body so that he can get as much leverage onto the inside of it as he can. He turns back to look toward you, and then turns and looks toward the armor again, and you see he's like rifling for a moment. And he places his hand on the desk in front of him, and he goes, "Come on, where are you, damn it? There we go. Yeah." Pulls his arm out, and you see a scroll in his hand. Turns to you and says, "Master said, though I couldn't, maybe you could make use of this." And then he holds a fold-up scroll in front of you. It looks like it has a lot of reading material.
Oh god damn it. I can't read. I can. That's fine. I'll read it. I will outstretch my hand for it.
Okay. So as you grasp it, make an insight check, quick.
Oh god.
Okay. As you take the scroll, there's this small connection between you for a moment, where something deep, welling in this chasm, somewhere inside your very soul, you feel some kind of connection between you two.
Oh, for God's sake, is he another bastard?
No.
Oh.
More than just hope, assuming he's telling the truth, which you feel like he is at the moment, more than just being related to the same person by fighting style, there's this weird other connection that you both have, this very tiny spark of something. You feel as well, now that you have the connection, through your own psychic prowess, you can feel he has some kind of spiritual force surrounding him as well, that's protecting him like an ever-persistent buzzing armor around his body. It doesn't afflict you, but you feel it there. And then in that same second, as it passes, you take the scroll, you take off the bind, you unfurl it slowly, and you look at it. It rolls down to like your knees, all the way from up your chest. And as you start to read it, it is in Thieves' Cant, but
Okay.
it's also got what looks to be images on it that dictate movement patterns. These are Ishikyo's techniques and how to use them, and they were worded in such a way that only you could read them, knowing fully well you would understand what to do with them. The problem being is you know for certain that some of them require things that you just don't have, or at least don't have yet. I will give you the names of them now. Each of them is Kyo style something or another. Virtue, Vice, Nirvana, Naraka, Araboth, and Babylon. Nirvana, Naraka, Araboth, and Babylon are Kyo Heavenly Gates. Moves that he said he could show you one day, but would prefer not to. Because they're the kind of moves that could destroy an opponent and destroy you in the process. I will share the sheet with you, however, so you can have a little read.
Okay. I will just scan across the thing and then just shove it in my bag.
Yeah.
And then just turn and say, when was the last time you saw him?
Right, if you want to see it, it's in Genasta Hightown, Gastodon, sorry. Hightown, Magata Manor.
Yeah.
Well, it's been a while. I myself am only, I think, about 200 or so years. And it's been at least a majority of that. I've maintained Magata Manor as he asked, but I haven't seen him since. He said there was just something important that came up, and that one day I would need to pass that on to you. And that when I saw you, I would understand. So I've got to ask, but I feel like since you've asked me, you already know differently. Do you know what happened to him?
No.
I
As
thought,
far as I was aware, he'd been missing for the past 400 years. Not 200.
oh. Well, he appeared roughly about 100 or 170 or so years in my rough early years. He came by for a couple of days just to pick some things up and make some affairs right. He was acting very strange. Said something about his well-being afflicting, and there was problems in his home, and there were people that he had to look out for. He started getting very sentimental and odd for a while, but for the man who taught me to kindle and connect with the spirits, and even use a sword to some degree, he just asked me to look after his home, so that's what I've done. Sorry if I can't help you anymore.
Does he have a room here?
Oh, well, I don't really know if you'd call it his room anymore, but for a long story short, he will walk to the door here and point across the way and point over to that, which, for the sake of context, is a smaller part of the entire complex.
I'll just nod and forewarn him that if any other people turn up, if they give the names like Anetta or Brewin or whatever, blah, 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 then that's fine. And then I'm just going to walk straight past him and go to the room.
Okay. As you're walking by, you just watch as you pass, and there's that moment that you kind of hear him mutter your name to himself. And you walk off to the room. And as you walk toward the door, slides open very quickly, easily. And as you look in, the room is not decorated exactly, but there are things in the room that shouldn't be there for a room that's not occupied. You see a tea set, set with 4 cups. The kettle itself is warm. There is a small puff of steam that's still coming out. There is a couple of little sticks of incense in around the corners of the room. And there's what looks to be a small treasure chest, roughly like a drawer size, that's in the corner, that's currently opened up, and you can see what looks to be these little gems and like small necklaces dangling down from the upside of the chest, as well as old clothes and smithing tools and the like on the brunt end, on the inside of it. And it looks like the room itself has been kept as close as possible to how it was when Ishi left. There's not much in the way of clothes otherwise, or anything else.
Well, while the others are talking to the guard lady, I am going to meticulously take this room apart, looking at absolutely everything, trying to find something I recognise, notes, anything. I literally would spend like hours in there meticulously looking.
Okay. Make an investigation check with advantage. Okay. So, I'll say it will take 3 hours as you're like properly scanning everything, pulling floorboards up, everything. In that meantime, with everyone else, as you spend some time at the bar, you each wander around for a little bit. You are very quickly guided, though people look confused at you when you mention the name. Eventually you reach it, and as you get to the front door, there is what looks to be a mercenary, a man in strapped leather armor, that has this series of bands around his left arm, and what looks to be a scimitar on his hip, as well as a couple of daggers on his chest. He has very short hair along one part. It's all pushed to the back. You see what looks to be a couple of ponytails. He's half elven by the look of him. He's got softer skin as well, but little scarring in places. Looks over to you each as you come over, and he's currently stood in front of the door. You see a circular window to your right that shows the inside, and you see tons of patrons on the inside, but they're like getting wild. These people either can't handle their drink or they've been drinking for a while. You see people on people's laps, you see people over at the bar doing like tugs of war, and it's weird given that 5 seconds ago you were in a street filled with regal nobles. These people go here to blow the fuck out of steam. And as you come toward the door, the merc looks at you each and goes, "Alright, you're after a bit of a good night out, I assume? You're not the usual patrons, so you must be new to town."
Usual patrons?
Well, you know, you see the same old 50 faces every day, so it's pretty obvious. And I've never seen you in the streets before, so either you're mercs I've never met, or you're new to the town and you're filthy rich. Either way, I can work with you.
We were directed and told that this was a good place to drink by Romana.
Oh, you mean Edna? Oh, I never thought she would have recommended this place. I thought she was too stiff for it.
So it's not a guard's pub.
Oh, God, no. This is the place where the higher-ups go to blow off some steam. You know, really blow off some steam and do it in secret. Although they're not very, just as he says that, you see along the inside through the window what looks to be someone like whipping their shirt around in the air, and then just whipping someone with it and just shouting loudly at them. Yeah, it's kind of like that. You kind of lose your face in there, if you know what I mean. And I mean, if someone mugs you, it's not going to matter. You can either get them tossed in jail and get your money back anyway, or you're too rich to care. So it's kind of a hang loose pub.
Sounds like the perfect place for a Nessa to nick things.
Well, I'm not rich enough that it would matter, so if we can find a table and some booze, that's what I need right now.
Hey,
I've had a shit day.
welcome to the young man's fingers then, 'cause best place to go when you've had a shit day. I will tell you, there's a good couple of girls in there too. Or unless you're into boys. I mean, either or. There's changelings too, so you know you can get a bit of anything.
Nice.
It's all up to what you fancy and consensual. We had a lot of trouble with that last year, so I have to say that now. Just, if I'm being honest, personally, I feel it should have been established. I tried to talk to the establishment, but I'm just a doormerk, so nobody listens. But anyway, a couple of suits later, you know, things change. So anyway.
Take note of that Brewin, and then I'm gonna walk past him in. Still trying to get Brewin back for all his comments earlier.
As you say that, Bremen will just smile to himself and just say to the doorman, "The women in there aren't too intimidating. My friend here can be a little bit shy."
Just
Fuck you, Brewin. I can still hear you. Now get in here. We're drinking.
Bremen just sort of like scrunches his eyes and just does a sort of like a laughing smile and just raises an eyebrow at the doorman with a smile and a nod and proceeds to walk in.
so,
I've just winced through this whole interaction.
these fucking people are gonna be the death of me.
Apologise to everyone. Like, oh, sorry, so sorry.
Okay. Just doing a thing, but maybe. Yeah. So, as you each head on in, very immediately you're pretty much accosted as like someone like bumps into you, Trafalgar, and just turns and looks to you. That kind of like one eye's like drooped to hell, and he's looking down at you, blinking all the time. He's like, "Oh, move out the what? Where'd you get? Oh, why is there 4 of you? Oh, maybe drunk too much. Hold on, gotta pass out." And then he just poof hits the ground immediately. You see 2 people walk over, just like start dragging him along by his hands, and he's like scraping against the floor. You just hear scraping along the floor. And yeah, you see off at the bar there's a burly half-orc. He's just kind of looking around at everyone. He's got this one large tusk and nothing on the other side, and he's just looking over at you each and just gives a small kind of nod. Looks around. You see a couple of tables are free. Most of them are being occupied by people that are currently either unconscious or using it for weird makeout sessions. It's very right away.
I'm gonna flag to whoever's behind me there from our group to grab a table, and I'm gonna head up to the bar.
Okay. So you each kind of scatter around the room for a minute, looking for a table that'll fit you. You find one off in the furthest right corner. You sit down. This blackened oak table, similar theme with each of them. For the most part, this place is fairly dark as well. There are lights on each table, these small glowing orbs that are encased in glass that seem to be kind of like a mystic seeing stone almost. It's embedded in the table itself. It gives enough light so you can each see each other at the table and see parts of everything else. There are some lights hanging from the ceiling, chandeliers that light the place up enough. But for the most part, it's meant to be a low light situation. As you go up to the bar, there is this long mirror just behind the bartender and a whole bunch of rows of drink beneath that. And he gives a kind of cocked head look at you as to say, "What are you after?"
Good day to you,
What?
sir. Evening. Good. Whatever.
Just go with it. You'll probably be right.
We're after some drinks, but hoping for something special that you maybe can't get elsewhere. Like for instance, we were in Alden not too long ago when we got some of this beautiful vodka. I've got a bottle here if you want to buy it off me for 50 silver. Sell it for a premium, I'm sure.
Nah, I'm good. We get the stuff in a shipment every month.
Well, we're after something that we're over there. If you can bring a couple of rounds for us, it'd be appreciated.
What's your price range?
Mid range.
So about
Whatever you've got in the middle of your range.
700 a bottle.
Oof. 100 what? 700 gold?
How, how much gold is in a platinum?
It's 100 gold equals a platinum.
100 gold equals platinum. Cool, because I got the platinum.
How much?
No.
I'm not willing for my share to go on vodka, just saying.
Yeah.
Mine can.
Well, 700. That's more than our shares combined either way. So, maybe your lower price end then.
Yeah, that sounds about like it. That'll be 300 a bottle, and it will survive you the night. You won't get as pissed as that one over there, though. And then he points toward the one who's like being dragged off into a corner and perched into a chair.
Well, that'll do. Hang on, do I have? Oh no. Could do as a discount. We were recommended just to come here by Romana, and if not, you'll have to wait until she comes back for the rest of it, and I'll drop 200 gold onto the counter.
Yeah, or I can just beat you up and take whatever you got on you.
Brewin just rolls his eyes, just walks up and just says, "Right, I'll have some other mug of mead. Try to ignore him. He's a bit too chatty."
Yeah, mead. Simple. I can do that. That'll be 7 silver.
Oh, so I'll flip over the 7 silver.
And takes that, puts it in his pocket, pulls out this like inequivalent. His hand is massive. He pulls out this like jug, like literal jug that looks like a glass in his hand. He places it down and just pours a crap load into it. And this jug is kind of like a pitcher, and then slides that to you. There you go. Enjoy.
Brewin sort of like raises it up and goes, "Cheers." Takes a good old swig out of it.
And then he looks toward you, Trafalgar, and goes, "And that was just mead. Are you sure it's not worth it?"
I'm pretty sure I don't want to be drinking that swill.
Well, I meant more the size, but alright.
Are you sure you won't do 200 for a bottle for me and my two beautiful lady friends over there?
Brewin hangs back and just leans backwards and just says to Trafalgar, "Just quit while you're ahead and pay the good man what he needs."
No, I'm sure we can come to an arrangement, can't we, sir?
Brewin just rolls his eyes and just says, looks to the barkeep and just says, "Okay, he is a travelling companion of mine, but whatever he says from now on, please don't let it reflect on me." I just start making my way to the table.
Are me and Anessa just holding the table at the moment, or in bar?
It's up to you. Someone has to, though. I'll
I
look
thought
at
we
it.
were. I thought we were like sat at the table, not knowing what was going on.
Which Brewin will walk over to the table if you guys are there and just explain that Trafalgar's trying to haggle prices for drinks for you guys for cheap, and the barkeeper's already threatened to beat him up. But he's still going.
Awesome.
And then Bree
I could just.
would just look to Ines and just says, "This," raises his mug and just says, 7 silver. Tastes somewhat rather homely, but you learn to love it. And just drinks a little bit more.
I take it from him and drink some.
Yeah, and I'll just pass over after I've had a little bit of a swig.
See, Trafalgar's trying to be on his really good side right now.
You understand the basics of economy, right?
We do. I think we can find somewhere else if needs be.
No, right.
And then I'm gonna step back from the bar and head towards the door. And if anyone bumps into me, I'm gonna try and swipe their coin purse because I got bumped into on the way in.
So, as you're walking your way out, some people are kind of like waddling around, and no one really intentionally bumps into you or anything, but someone gets close enough for you to try, so you can do a sleight of hand check.
This is going to be a net one. Oh!
Ooh, close. So, someone kind of like starts tumbling your direction. This elderly noble figure, you can't see the ears. It looks kind of human-y. Slightly darker skin, but more so from plausibly his age. As he's like stumbling your way, like his shirt's ragged. He is wearing this kind of like chest piece. It doesn't look like armor though. As he falls your way, the pouch on his side jangles about a little bit, and he kind of like bumps his shoulder just a little bit. How do you use that moment to sneak the money away?
Just as I kind of grab onto him to keep him on his feet, I'll just slip it off his belt and onto mine. And then as I write him up, I say, "Just be careful, sir."
Oh, pardon me. Don't drink the ale. It's like piss, but it gets you pissed. Then he turns back around.
From my companion.
Turns back around and starts to continue back off. And you just say, "Ah, I nearly fell over!" And then you walk out.
As I walk out, I want to see how much. So when the door closes behind me, I want to see how much was in his purse.
You kind of have a quick check around. You see a couple of silvers, no coppers, luckily. You count a minimal of like 40 golds. You're not too sure total unless you spend some time to have a look.
Yeah, I can spend a minute or two going through and counting it.
Okay, so as you're outside and you're just counting, the merc kind of like eyes down at you as you're doing that and goes, well, look at you. Getting a little...
I just look up at him and go, "It's bloody expensive in there."
Well, I
And
mean...
then I can...
Hey, you want some quality, you want some girls, you gotta pay for the privilege.
Yeah, well, let's see if I can afford that first. And then I carry counting the...
In total, you have 124 silver and 74 gold.
74 gold.
Mm-hmm.
Or... Then I'll empty that into my own purse. And then I'll head back inside, go up to the bar with 300 gold ready, and go, put it down and say, "Give me that bottle. I forgot we were meeting somebody and can't go somewhere else."
He kind of just gives it a slight side eye and goes, "Yeah, about that weird, innit? It's almost like your little display didn't work because your friends didn't leave."
Well, I can leave them, but I need to meet this person myself.
Alright, there anyway. He leans back a little bit, goes underneath the counter, pulls out this, again, like, this time it's like 2 times the size of a pitcher, puts it onto the table in front of you, literally with his own hands tears the cork out, flicks it across the room on his counter side. You see this like gold filigree all across the bottle itself, and the writing is written in what looks to be a rather like weighted language. What languages can you speak?
Common, Thieves' Cant, and Araneo.
You have no
Think.
idea.
Is all I can read right now.
And as he uncorks it, flicks it across, slides it toward you, holding on to the neck of the bottle, and then says, "You want some glasses?"
Yes, best take 3, thank you.
Reaches down, picks with his other hand 3 glasses, places it down in front of you, lets go of the bottle, takes the gold, places it in his pockets, and then leans on the counter and goes, "Alright, there you go. Nice doing business with you, yada yada."
Thanks. And then I just grab them and head to the table. Pass the glasses round to Esatari and Essa. Fill the glasses. I say, "Well, I have to stay, don't I? If you're not fucking leaving as well." And then I'd give Brewin's chair a kick as I sit down.
Bray will just sort of look and smirk and just say, "Hey, what can I say? You may think you're as smooth with your words as you think you are, but you're really not."
I can be. I'm just trying to be on my best behaviour. Like Chorus could be in any shadow. And I don't...
And Bray looks and says, "That's exactly the reason why I made you look like a bit of an idiot in front of Adela Romana back then. Because
Well-
you're acting very suspicious, and considering she's not exactly, well, she's pretty smart. She's a pretty smart woman. She'd probably put one and one together and then start interrogating you and watches you out on the spot. So to be as despicable as you can be, I'd rather not have you hoisted away to jail."
I did say that you should take that one, and you refused. Well, you declined, so it's not on me.
Which Bray will just say, "I'm just trying to make sure you know. At least we got a job to do, so we at least need to stay together as a group and not do anything too silly."
Yeah. But anyway, let's just enjoy ourselves and get over whatever the fuck that was in that mansion. Settle down for the night.
Which Bray will just really smirk and just says, "That's really Dorlandius, isn't it?"
I was about to say that. It feels like you're a bit more upset than I am.
It's family. I fucking hate family.
Bray will just smile and just say, "It's better to have than never to have."
I'm going to give him a bit of a knowing look there. And say, "Well, we'll see, won't we, how this turns out."
That's very cool.
Meanwhile, the girls are just there like, what the fuck are they talking about now?
It's nice to see they're getting on a bit better, I think.
Yeah.
And I say this sincerely.
So,
And then I'm going to leave, and I'm just going to say, "Just keep an eye out for that old codger over there. He's a bit drunk. Bumped into me earlier."
Whereabouts is this guy?
Oh,
How many drunk old codgers are there?
there's like 4 in the room. So,
Yeah, I'm not pointing at anyone in particular.
You guys look around. There's like 2 of them that are sat together, like arm in arm, just like talking about old days and cheering every now and again. And other people just go "Hey!" with them. There's one old guy, the one I described earlier, and then there's another one that is like sat on his own in a corner, like depressed the fuck, with like a ring in the center of his hair that's balded out, and he's like scratching his neck, looking into despair.
Heads up.
Which Bruno will
Oh.
just say quite sarcastically, "Oh, definitely no, you have to look out for."
Well, as I say, on my best behaviour. Don't want people being upset with me for nothing. If he takes offence later on when he's drunk a bit more.
Why would he take offence?
Well, rich people and me.
Can I do an insight check on
Yes.
Trafalgar?
And Trafalgar can do a deception.
That's only if I don't want him to know, isn't it? Really?
Yes. Otherwise, he'll incite the lies hidden in the words.
No, yeah, because I want to be on my best behaviour. Yeah, but
Oh,
Yeah.
nah.
So
Which Bree will just look as you say that, and just
he's 2 on the nose.
and just
Yeah.
and just literally just majorly side eye you with a bit of frown, just say, by any chance you didn't exactly you know, get your fingers slippery, did you?
No, actually, I caught the purse perfectly, and then I'm going to catch myself as I say that.
Which Brewin gives him the look as in like, that's what I meant. And then Brew will just raise his eyebrows and just say, "Huh, look at that. I think you're probably the first honest thief I've ever met."
It's a mistake. Why am I speaking to you people? Why aren't we drinking? And then I'm gonna.
Brewin will just say, "Try not to do it too much in here."
Oh, I don't need to now. I think settled in for the night with this.
Yeah, it will keep you going for the rest of the night at the least. Even amongst all of you.
Bloody expensive though.
Brewin will just be like, "Fair enough. You can get another round then, and just be very kept to yourself. Especially if they start investigating about the fact that something's gone amiss."
And then you
Even
hear
though-
in the
and I look
distance,
at him.
someone shouts, "Oh, do you know where my wallet went?" It's like, did you drop it outside? You did go for a piss earlier.
Brewin shoots a pointed look at Trafalgar, as in like, "Please blend in, play it cool."
Oh, never mind. I was sat on it. Don't, no stress. Got it. Here it is. Got it. Thank you.
Just drink, drink, drink.
Brewin would just raise his hand and drink more.
So, you guys have a sit down, have swig after swig, kind of have casual chat. Looking around the room, seeing these people like fucking toasted. A couple of people now and then come over to see if anyone is amused in joining them in another room. Whether or not you partake in that is up to you.
Who wins?
Each of you. There's a small parade of girls that walk in after about an hour or so that kind of look around the room. They kind of spread out a little bit in twos. 2 of them walk over to your table and they're very like over the top with their visual. They're very much like Essex slappers, if I'm putting it simply, but they actually look good. Like they look very like enticing and like it. For those of you who,
But then it's their accent and the way they.
you're right, love.
and then they open their mouth.
You're right, love. You want to go for a slap and tickle? Yeah, it's all good until you know you have to talk in return. It's like, oh, okay. Well, I mean, I guess. But yeah. And after a little bit of that, people start to bleed out bit by bit and disappear off or are carted out. As you see, the merc comes in every now and again, checks on things, and pulls anyone out who's quite clearly too pissed, throws them out. Is there anything you guys want to do in the meantime? Any other conversations you wish to have?
Just kind of making small talk, really.
Just
I'm
Yeah.
waiting
Avoid
for
my concern that we should have gone with Lycoris. I'm worried.
You saw the mood she was in. You know what she's like,
the big
and I'm already on in her bad books. I wasn't going after her. Tell you now.
She's in a foul mood and she's somewhat soaking, which I made rather apparent, and she wanted to kill. But she can do what she can do, and she'll cool down in her own time. And now, why don't you just enjoy the time we're having here?
If you're still worried after a couple of drinks, and once we've sorted whatever this is out with Romana, we might tag along and join you and find her.
Yeah. You're right. She's pretty capable of looking after herself. I'm just worried that she wasn't in her usual level-headed kind of mindset.
Which, Brewin cracks quite the poor joke towards Anessa. Wait, not Anessa.
Esatari.
What?
Esatari. And just says, worst case scenario, we'll probably see her in some form of trial in court for murder.
Is one
Now
of the
that
things
sounds
I'm
like
worried
the
about.
Lycoris we know. But that seems very much like the Lycoris we
Yeah,
know, not the...
You're not dissuading my fears here.
Nudge your cup towards you again.
Yeah, nice. Take a drink and just continue to just worry slightly less, but
I'm going to remember that I've got some spell scrolls as well. And I'm going to say, well, take your mind off her, have a look at this, and I'm going to pass her the mailed message scroll.
Who are you passing it to? That's important.
Esatari.
Okay.
Because she's the one that's worrying.
Yep.
And the drink's not dissuading her. Yes.
Okay. So as he passes it to you, you know what a spell scroll looks like. This, however, is a cantrip scroll. The mailed message. Bap.
Yeah.
So as you read it, you do learn what it's capable of, which is that. Doing brain. As you read it up, you think to yourself, that's probably what Lady Devane did earlier, when the little letter floated down in front of Lycoris. You know as well that you could probably learn how to cast that. You would need Anessa's guidance on doing that, though, since technically speaking, she's the only one in and out of rules that can even do that.
if scrolls are your thing.
Mm.
And I'm offended that he did not tell me he had scrolls beforehand.
Well, you should have been more concerned, shouldn't you?
I was knocked out. The mailed message one as well was one that I was like, really wanting. This would save me a lot of money. Are you speaking to me about it?
Yeah, I'll talk to you about it. I'm like, oh, this is quite interesting.
Yeah.
Obviously, I can often talk to creatures in their mind, but I do need to be able to see them. Whereas this is much more expansive than that.
It is extremely interesting. this would have taken me quite some time. Give me quite some money. I think that this could be useful for myself as well. So, and I will let her know everything that it does and how she can do it. But I can copy it, can't I? Using my spell scribe.
Yep.
So if you,
It's
if you wouldn't-
Trafalgar's. It's Trafalgar's. You should ask him.
well, Trafalgar, would you mind terribly if I copied this spell?
Of course not. I mean, I can't even use it. I have no inclination towards magic that I'm aware of at the moment, so take it.
And yet you kept them to yourself.
Nobody had asked me about what I found back at the camp.
I did not
Obviously, I rescued Angelina. I got the chest that's very important to me. And there were a few other things lying around.
like myself. I was lying around.
Yes, so you keep
No
saying.
knowledge of these scrolls. Well,
I was in a different part of the camp. Okay.
thank you. I appreciate you sharing them with us now.
Well, yes. There's that one, and there's another few that maybe when the time comes, I'll show you as well. If I can't earn some coin back on them.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'm across the table towards him. How about you get to keep them, use them, and make some coin from them?
And thus their beautiful partnership began.
Stars shone in his eyes.
I do like making money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, why not? And then I'll show them the summon imp familiar and contact other plane
Ooh.
scrolls.
So those are actual spells in D&D, so obviously I don't need to. Yeah. Summon imp familiar is literally just find familiar, but you can only summon an imp. So it's specifically this.
What level are these?
Find familiar is first, and contact other plane. Hold on, I think it's like 5th, 6th, something. 5th. So find fam is yeah, baby first.
Oh, Jet snoring next to me. So cute.
Meow.
Yeah, so mailed message. So did Esatari want this too?
Well, no. Like, I don't know what you can do with stuff, like how many copies you can make or whatever.
Well, I don't need to use the spell scroll because I can copy it into my wizard book, as far as I'm aware.
Mhm.
So I can copy it into my book, and then the scroll is still there to be used as well.
I don't
or
know.
we could sell it.
I don't know for certain how it works. Spell scroll into your book. Just read it in your own time if you can. I feel like there's some rule somewhere where it expends it, but I don't know for certain. I'm just throwing words out there.
Well, when I did my others before, because that's what I was doing. I was using the scroll, copy my book, and then I gave it to someone else to use. Because then, because they don't
yeah.
have a spell book, it used it for them.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, that'll do.
I can use it all the time because I have a book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Because that's how I managed to copy in some things and then give them to others. But theirs is a one spell scroll, isn't it? So.
That's right. Yeah. No, you're right.
Cool. And then the summon imp familiar. What level was that again? You said level 2.
What? Sorry.
The
Summon imp familiar is level 1.
Yeah.
Level
Contact other. contact other planes level 5.
Level 5. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to take these and spend some time copying them up.
Okay.
Then I will be contacting my people. I should have someone here actually, because I have the
Background.
in various places thing.
Oh yeah.
So what's that? Ear to the wind. I have that.
Oh
So-
yes.
I will have a contact here. I just need to find them. And when I find them, given any scrolls that none of the party need to use, then we can make some coin.
Oh yeah.
And I say we,
You've
because
no.
otherwise I'd be using these.
You've noticed historically, the people that you have in contact through each new place is typically some form of genasi. So air, water, earth, fire, because Avatar. Yeah. So not to put a racial spin on it, but pretty much find the genasi, and you'll typically be right. They're usually hidden around some bar somewhere, trying to blend in to some degree.
Well, was the guy in Alden Genasi?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
He's an air genasi. Or
Yes.
air or water, one of the two, I can't remember.
I think he was there.
I think so, yeah.
So that's the plan. That's what we're going to do. This is what I do, so there'll be a token. They don't know that I copied though, so don't tell them.
No, I just expect my cut.
Of course.
She pulls out a knife. Yeah, I bet you do.
You'll be cut alright.
So, as you begin to do the finer print of copying them out into your spellbook, I assume.
I'm gonna keep them and do that later when it's private because
Okay.
In the middle
I'm
of a busy
assuming that
pub.
people, my contacts don't know that I'm copying well, because that would
Cause a bit of awkwardness.
yeah probably reduce the cost too.
Mm.
The whole point is meant to be that I am not taking myself.
Okay. So, as you will wait it out then, you lot continue the next like hour or so into the point where timelines match up. You each sat there enjoying a drink or two. You see the bar door push open and a hooded figure walks in with the same figure of Lady Romana, who kind of looks around the room, scanning for something in particular. They see you all sat with the light glistening toward your faces just gently enough, and they look towards you, give a small kind of nod, and then motion outside. They turn, walk outside. In that same time, as Lycoris is literally tearing the fuck out of the bedroom of her previous master, you check through the tea sets, you check the bedding, you check in this chest, you pull like parts of the chest off that has this like fine covering over it, pull that apart and check the woodworking, you check the steel parts, see if there's any like little tools or anything. You kind of like check underneath the tatami mats, and you're pulling apart the room, and it gets to a point where after about 2.5 hours you're just there thinking it's futile, and it's fucking annoying because everything is being pulled apart and you're not finding it, and it's annoying because you could swear that he would have left you something, some kind of clue or some, not gift exactly, some memento. And then you look around the room and you notice, with all the mess and dust that has been uncovered, you notice the incense candles still lit, still exuding that nice scent. You walk over to one of them just on a whim. You pick it out from the little pot, kind of like snuff it out for a moment, put it back into the pot, As you turn and look around the room, there's this sudden minor relief that you didn't notice you needed. And you start to rub the side of your head and you feel veins that have been bulging the entire time without you noticing. Everybody still there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lo-fi
She's
went.
been rage clean. She's been rage cleaning.
No, no, quite the opposite. Um,
Ripping the fucking building apart.
Lo-fi stopped working, so I was like, oh god, we've gone again. Yeah, so as you do that and you feel the side of your head, you feel the veins bulging and you feel the stress beneath your eyes. You look over toward the incense and you go over, pick the other one out and break it. Drop it into the pot. You go to each of the corners and break each of them. When all of them are snuffed out, you give it about a minute. You open the doors, let the wind waft in enough to collect whatever's left of it. You kind of like rub the sides of your temple and you feel those horrible depression marks, the bulging of your veins very quickly sink. And then as you look around the room, your eyes, it's almost like you're looking at everything in like this slow-mo, or like everything else is on lower frames. Like your mind can't keep up. And then it starts to blur together into one and you start to see properly again. And the room's light fades, but because of being dark vision you can still see. And as you look around the room, currently torn apart, you get the sense of another figure in the room, this feeling crawl across you. And you see a figure move through you, the spectral figure move through you, and you feel as if you're reliving a scene almost. And you see this weird silhouette of a creature move forward and kneel down, specifically right here. And they pull up a part of the tatami mat for the sake of keeping two worlds sense. The room you're in at the moment is not being interacted. What you're seeing is a vision of sorts. And you see him pull the tatami mat up and then look back outside and then start digging and digging with something in their hand. You're not sure if it's their own hands or a tool. This creature is an amorphous blob for the most part. And they peel away like dirt or something underneath. And then they place a parchment that's tied with string with a single small gemstone of some kind and place it down into that ditch and then cover it back over again. And then just before they place the tatami mat over again, the image disappears. The room is still dark, and as you're looking around... Yep. Connor?
Hello.
You okay?
Yeah, I just don't know why I was just reading something out loud. That's all.
Oh, okay.
I was just looking at my phone and I just said something. That's gibberish.
So, you look down at the space where you saw the entity moving pieces.
I'm gonna start digging.
Okay, so that tatami mat was already pulled up. All you see beneath that is like soft dirt. You start to dig your fingers. Yeah, dirt, squishy. You start digging. You see these small bugs, and very quickly you clear the dirt out of the way from that area of the tatami mat. It makes this small crater on the inside of it. You get to the point where you feel the solid cavernous ground, and you're starting to doubt a little bit, and you start to pull and pull and pull and tear the ground apart until the entirety of it is removed, and there's nothing there. And then you get this small headache for a moment, and you feel yourself fall forward. Your eyes close and flicker, and you have to hold onto the wall, and you feel your whole body, it just rakes with confusion and this stinging. and then your eyes twitch one by one open. And as you look down into the dirt, you see a small piece of parchment that's been dyed a dirty brown colour with this small bluish red gem that's been buried with it. The gem is inert is the first word you think of when you look at it, but you don't know why you think of that word. It's tied very lightly to the piece of parchment, and you see what looks to be the Ishii family seal tightening it onto the piece of parchment. What do?
Grab the stone and put it in my most secure pocket, and I'm gonna rip that bad boy open and read it.
As you reach down and grasp the stone, very quickly there's this flash of an image of Ishii's hand doing the same and grasping it. And it throws you for a second, but you carry on. You grasp it, put it in your pocket, you open up the scroll, and the first words... One second, let me find it, just to make sure I don't fuck it up. So as you open it up, the scroll itself seems to be a smith's guide to crafting a blade called the Musarame, the Soul Blade. And as you're taking moments to read it, the materials needed to forge it are so complicated, and you have to go to places you've never even heard of, but you can see there are these little drawings along the sides of some pieces as if Ishii was noting what he's already done. And you see along near the bottom there's 3 lines remaining. One of them is called a Gem of the Almighty. One
Okay.
is called the Touch of a God. And the last is called the Hope of a Dying Star.
Well, fuck.
It seems as if he was cataloguing the pieces he'd found. The other ones are, in comparison, more mundane. You needed a blade which can house a soul, or multiple souls. You needed a blade that shared a part of you. You yourself needed to be of at least 500 years in age and have the wisdom of ages. You would also need to forge the weapon in the heart of a deep volcano, crafted with runes and magic in equivalent to a 9th tier spell. And he's done these. It's just those last 3 that he needs to do. But by the looks of it, judging by the stain of the quill he used, this paper is as old as the last time you saw him. Something stopped him from completing the weapon.
God damn it.
And there you have it.
I'm just gonna put the tatami mat back down and just lie down and stare at the ceiling like, the fuck is going on?
And as you look up to the ceiling, just exhausted, confused, more than likely very annoyed, you hear a knocking on the wall, and you hear a very quiet, familiar voice say, would you like some tea?
No, thank you.
He nods, kind of pokes his head in, looks around the room. He takes a very deep sigh. Okay, I understand. I'm not sure how long you're here for, but if you want, there's always a room here for you. I mean, you wrecked this one, so I really hope you'll take this one.
I'll fix it eventually.
Yeah, pardon me if I don't really listen to people who say the words eventually to me anymore.
Fair.
Well, I'm gonna go probably nap myself. I hope we can talk properly about the master tomorrow.
Hmm.
Okay. Turns around, walks out. You hear the door creaking very gently behind you as he closes it. You hear the sounds of his footsteps as he's walking off, and then they stop, and you hear another pair of footsteps from a little further away. Oh, hello, sir.
Sir? What?
Ishkari, where is she? What do you... don't pretend. I'm more than aware you've had a lady here, and another one with a mask. You know the rule.
Oh?
Okay, sir. And then you hear footsteps coming toward your door. As you then hear the door open up again, I assume you kind of like sit up.
Nope. I'm just gonna turn. I'm still lying on the ground. I'm just gonna turn my head.
just slap, just a little. You see the figure before you is not one you've seen before. It is this fellow. He looks over toward you. You see just barely from underneath around the wrist what looks to be a chain on both wrists. You see as well there is something of the back of his cloak is pushed up just a little bit, as if there's something beneath his back, but you can't exactly tell what. Oh, so this is the one. Well, I guess I don't have to put on airs. My name is Waraji. I assume you're like Horus, the one that Ishkari kept on mentioning. Not one for words. This is fine. And I can... Steps forward into the room, looks around. Well, it didn't take you long to wreck the place. I'm the benefactor of the Kyo Dojo. Since it has been many moons, this place would not run without my coin. I'm from Theron initially. He's looking around the room as he's speaking. I took a vested interest as Lord Ishii made his own mark in Theron once upon a time. I figured I would come, check on the place, make sure it is all spick and span in the event that I might need its use. But it seems its use has run dry with your arrival. I would like to inform you of two things. Firstly, this place belongs to me. I might have had deep respect for the Kyo style and the man himself. plausibly, that gives me more reason to deny you ever returning, under threat of prison. However, I do want to know a few things. Firstly, when was the last time you saw him?
I'm just gonna blink at him for a bit, like, fuck is even going on, man? Like 400 years ago.
Well then, way before my time. Well, that's sad. I was sure hoping you could have given me some answers. There's a little, friend I was informed about that he left behind here, and I thought it was just Ishikari. I was told it couldn't be you, as you were an alien element in the whole thing. Have you ever heard of the name Legion?
Have I?
Oh, yes. Only once.
Yes,
and recently.
have.
You had we'll say an episode when...
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, I remember.
Good. Well, that sort of narrows things down a little bit. You know what the one problem the Sun-Touched kin have? Their vanity. Being that of a hybrid elven tiefling nature. The demonic, or the theory resides in this anyway, that their demonic side stays with them from birth to death, unless they conquer it or they are taken over by it. There is no real harmonious thing that they can do. There's been a theory that somewhere along the lines, Ishikio was taken down by his spectral other half, and the demon took over his body. However, there's also been more speculation that both still exist. So I'm trying to put the pieces together as to which is true. If Legion exists, there's the chance, a very finite one, that Ishikyo can come back. However, it means we would probably have to rip his soul in half, which is not pleasant, I've heard. So I wanted to offer you a unique perspective. I might help you find Ishikyo, if you're still so entitled. That is.
I'm just gonna raise an eyebrow and go back to staring at the ceiling.
Well, okay. I see where I stand then. Turns back around and
I'll consider it.
you see the head turn back just halfway.
And then I'm just gonna gesture to my hands and be like, can't you see I'm in the middle of something?
That's fine.
My mud-covered hands.
Filthy. Well, that's fine then. But I don't come to town often, so please don't waste my time. I won't waste yours. I wish to see the once champion of the sword return. And while I'm not going to say I'll do anything for that, I would certainly appreciate pushing impossibility to near possibility.
I'll just sigh and say, give me a day or two to sort things out.
I can work with that. Well then, Ishikari, if you wouldn't mind, if she doesn't clean up this mess by tomorrow, sick to it.
I'll clean it.
Well, if you're
We're all
if you're anything like Ishikari, I'll believe you. But honestly, considering you're still lying on the floor like a slob, I'll assume otherwise.
What are you meant to be again? What? How old are you meant to be?
Very old.
Like, almost 500. I'm going through a lot of stuff, okay?
Wow.
Menopause.
I don't think elves go through menopause until they're like 900.
Yeah.
Onset. Onset.
Early onset, yeah.
Very
A lot
early.
of emotions right now.
He's having a elven teenage angst.
I'm having a lot of emotions about stuff,
She-
okay?
To be fair, she's the equivalent to a human 50, but visually she's the equivalent to a human 20.
Yeah, boy.
Well then.
And in my defense, it's been a very long road leading up to this, and it did not end the way I wanted it to.
No, yeah. Well then. I will see you in the morning, Missy. Be here whenever the hell you decide, but I will let you know I have some business in around whatever the hell they consider midnight. I really wish he bore better apprentices. Come on, Ishikari. Walks out. Just as he's walking out and Ishikari's about to go for the door, you see what looks to be like two tails, very big fluffy tails, erupting from the back of his cloak. And then they disappear as the door closes behind him. And they walk off into the sunset together.
I'm gonna set up and start tidying the room really slowly.
Okay. So, is there any last minute things we want to do? Otherwise that'll be session.
Think so?
Okay.
I think so.
So as you lot walk out of the tavern with Edna Romana, she turns a little side street corner. You guys following along. You see two figures. They're not clad in armor by the looks of it. They have these long cloaks, hoods up. They sit in a very dark lit corner. They stand up as you come around. Edna slowly turns around, pulls back the hood slowly, and as she pulls back the hood, you see this skull mask on her face. And then she very quickly draws a sword, and you realise very quickly that's not Edna Romana. And you then hear coming from behind you very quick steps. And then you hear, in what sounds like an echoed voice, as if to mask it, "Give us the ASMR!" And we'll deal with that next
Ow.
time. Gotta leave on a cliffhanger.
No.
Ryu was abducted whilst I'm thrown a hissy fit.
Yeah. You're like, I can't believe people think I should clean up the mess I made.
That is a word.
Oh no, wait! I need to. No! I need those people! God damn it!
So,
Why
where is it?
Why couldn't they have attacked when I was nearby?
Because that'd be too fun.
You
So,
should go off on your own.
Guys, don't die without me.
Yes,
Right.
because that is for us to decide.
Don't kill them.
I'll try.
We'll die out of spite.
I'll be very low.
Try out of spite to die.
So yeah, we'll continue next time, my beautiful people.
Oh, people.
They don't
A
care.
beautiful people.
After Christmas.
Yours.
It'll be all for Christmas.
Have a nice Christmas, everybody.
Yeah, everybody.
Guys.
Merry Chrysler.
Hi, Chrysler.
Merry Kriegs,
Merry
list.
Christmas.
Mer- Merry Crimemas. Make sure you commit all the crimes. Do be
I'm on
be gay,
I
do
am on
crime.
break, so just give me a shout when we do stuff next.
If you guys want, because I don't think next Wednesday's anything big. But correct me if I'm wrong. We can do it next Wednesday if you want.
Yeah, it works for me.
Oh,
I think it'll be
Oh,
fine,
wait,
but I'm not
oh,
certain.
oh, actually, next Wednesday, if we're not locked down and shit, I'll be at my extended family's thing.
Oh, that's cute.
And Danny's meeting my extended family for the first time. Woo!
Yes. Oh yeah.
We'll do a poll or something to figure out the date.
Yeah.
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 I'll do that literally right now. And just say the things when you want.
Yeah,
Yeah, lock
I
it
have
down
no
and it
idea
won't
doing
matter
it.
anyway.
Well, I still gotta work.
I know.
Bye.
See you later, guys. Bye.
Hello.
Shalom.
Don't mind me, I'm just doing this and then I'm buggering off.
As I say, I'm just currently I was just looking at jokes.
Is that bad?